Hello, welcome once again to the Turret of Pleasure here in the Enchanted Kingdom of Hermione. I'm the Lord Chamberlain of the Enchanted Kingdom. Zip gun, testing out my new lips. And I'm gonna I've got a series I started that people seem to like, and they've provoked discussion. I'm getting lots of comments. Great, thank you. But I realized I gotta sort of aim for the cheap seats. I've been doing things like Sun Ra, Captain Beefheart, and people are like, okay. And then I did Frank Zappa, and everybody went nuts. So okay, fine, I'll take on some big guns. And today I'm going to take on The Who. Why not? Because The Who, boy, I don't know, there's people that say The Who's the best hard rock band ever. And there's a lot of reasons you could say that they're right. Having said that, like any long-tenured rock band that is iconic, they have made their share of complete stinker albums. They've gone down the wrong road sometimes. They've had misfortune. And, like so many of the artists that we consider iconic, the things that made them iconic happened often in a very small period of time. And The Who are remarkably consistent for the most of their career. And because we've been sort of attempting at least to emphasize where not to start with The Who, I think it's a good rule of thumb to say don't start with anything that doesn't include Keith Moon as the drummer, because that rules out all the dreck. And I mean, nothing against Kenny Jones, who's a great guy, but the band was in disarray. Townsend was not writing very well. Nobody really had their heart in it. They were making too much money at the gate, and it was just a really lousy situation. Face Dances is a lousy record. It's Hard is a lousy record. They're lousy records. If you're a fan of what came before, you can recognize what makes them great, but if it's the first thing you've ever heard by them, you're going to go, what's the big deal here? So yeah, don't go there. Where would I go? Well, and also their very, 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 very early stuff, like My Generation stuff, is a little misleading because they're doing James Brown covers and R&B. Everybody started in R&B. So don't start with that. Don't start chronologically. The main thing about The Who was Pete Townsend, of course, and his writing. But The Who had a couple of great things. Like Townsend had the vision, as Roger Waters did with Pink Floyd. He had the stories. He had the thing. They built their records around these visions of his. But he had a great supporting cast, of course. He had John Entwistle writing all the B-sides. And John wrote lots of great songs that are very obscure, hard to find. He had Keith Moon, the most unique drummer in popular rock music at the time, certainly. And, of course, he had the epitome of masculine virility in his lead singer, Roger Daltrey, who, by the time he got to Woodstock, he was just like this Adonis. He made Jim Morrison look like Pee Wee Herman. And when Townsend's writing peaked, he wrote some records that were as good as any. And it's funny because I've only recently kind of looked into this more deeply, because I bought the Who Sellout box set. And the Who Sellout is my favorite Who record. I would say maybe start with that record, although if you start with the Who Sellout, you'll get more of a taste of what they were like in the 60s, but you'll get a very strong hint of how hard they could rock in the 70s. So it's not a bad starting point. The other place to start would perhaps, a lot of people would say, would be Who's Next, which is really the first, I don't know, I would call it the first hard rock record. But really, if I were to introduce somebody to The Who, again, who was like either a very young person or somebody from a culture that has never heard rock and roll, I would play them the second version of Live at Leeds. Because really, that's The Who in a nutshell, they open with a terrific John Entwistle song, which just kicks. They play some songs from as early as '65, I think. The concert's from '69, and there's a big, long, extended My Generation, which foreshadows the '70s extravaganzas, and yet it's still fairly concise. The extra long version contains most of Tommy in it too. So I mean, really, if you've got really limited shelf space and you want to have one Who CD, maybe the final version of the Live at Leeds is for you. But I don't start with Quadrophenia, a complex record that takes a bit of warming up to. A lot of their '60s records were 60s records, so a couple of singles, a couple of filler tracks, a quick one while he's away is like that. Sellout is an actual concept record, and it works great from beginning to end as a record. And I mean, if you take any interest in the Who at all, you really got to grapple with that one, because it's their first great record, and I still think it's actually their greatest record. The box set contains a single of theirs that went absolutely unnoticed. I had never heard of it until like recently, and it's the song Dogs. Now, I bought Dogs Part 2, which was the B-side of the Pinball Wizard single, when I was 9. So, that's how long it's been. And the song Dogs doesn't sound anything like the Who. It's a very strange song. It's a delightful song, but if you played it to somebody blindfolded, they'd have no idea. They'd think it was the Faces, maybe. Because it sounds sort of like the Faces, and I think it was actually written kind of with them in mind. Anyway, this record, in the middle of their early chart success in England, just didn't do a thing. 2 weeks in the charts and gone. It was pretty much forgotten. And apparently about that time, Townshend stopped smoking marijuana. And to me, this was pivotal, because after that, he got serious, and he started writing Lifehouse, and he started writing Tommy, and he started writing Quadrophenia. And these are all excellent works of art, but as rock and roll, they're occasionally a little ponderous. And I always found that I liked all of those works, despite things about them that really bugged me. Sellout, I never had that problem. Sellout was wonderful, and sort of the lighter weight stuff was still justified because it was fun. I think they were a much more fun band before Townshend stopped smoking pot. Anyway, that's just my take on it. So yeah, don't start with anything that doesn't have Keith Moon on it. You could, Who's next? Good one. Live at Leeds. Start with Live at Leeds. That's what I'd say. Anyways, there you have it. That's my say on it. And this is more a shameless attempt to boost my listenership than anything, because I don't know. I like all the Who's records to a point. And, the funny thing about an artist like The Who or whomever is a lot depends on where you encounter them in their oeuvre. And I love to collect, if you've got any stories about, the first Who record I ever heard was insert name of some weird Who record, and I took it from there. I love to hear them, because I've been like that with a few bands, like Iron Butterfly, for instance. And it makes a difference. So send in as many comments as you dare. And thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Get everybody to subscribe. We want to monetize this channel and make me rich, because I'm retired and I'm broke. And we're entering 2025, the second era of Trump. Look after each other. Don't take shit from Whitey. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.